Sometimes it just happens. You, as a middle manager, are stuck between senior management's decision and the negative impact it has on your team. At times, you don't even agree with the decision or the policies associated with the decision, but it is yours to enforce. These are the circumstances where leader courage is essential for you to protect yourself, your team, and your organization. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Moving Forward Leadership Podcast, episode 84, Develop Leader Courage, to push back against management. Welcome one, welcome all to the Moving Forward Leadership Podcast. It's your Chief Leadership Officer, Scott McCarthy, and welcome to you, the leader, regardless if you are thinking about making that leadership journey, starting it and getting into a leadership role, or you are in a leadership role now and trying to make that next jump into that next level, or you're a senior leader and you're just looking to sharpen and hone your skills, you come to the right place, folks. Because you know what? I take my 18 years of military experience, add it with my life experience, and you get over 20 years worth of leadership experience, and that doesn't even count the world-class guests that I go out and find for you, the leaders, to achieve whatever it is you are looking to achieve. So thanks for coming out, and thanks for joining me today. And it's just me today. It's solo. It's just me and you, Scott McCarthy, to you, the great leader that you are. And I'm happy to bring you a different topic today. One that popped up in a Facebook group I'm a part of. Someone threw this scenario and it just inspired me to do this podcast episode because it's a great topic. And that topic is essentially leader courage. So I'll tell you what the post was. The post basically, in short story, was someone who's a middle manager saying that their senior leadership have now invoked this policy, and if any of their subordinates disobey the policy, they as the middle leader are to immediately suspend them without any warning or any other chalks or repercussions. Immediate suspension. And the person was explaining that it didn't even agree with the policy in the first place. So it kind of sparked the idea, you get that inspiration. And I was like, this would be a great topic for the audience because I know so many out there are in that scenario where you are the middle leader. You're in between your people and your superiors. And sometimes we're stuck in a situation where no matter which way we look at it, it's just all bad. So today we're going to be talking about leader courage. And what exactly is leader courage, you're wondering? Well, it's simple. Leader courage is the courage you have and the ability you have to stick up for what's right in your mind. To go back to that senior leadership and say, this doesn't jive. This doesn't work. The ability for you not just to go with the flow, to take the direction and just pass it on. Because we can all do that. We can all just simply, that's direction, and enforce it. And a lot of people do that, and I can't overly fault them for it, but you have to ask yourself, are you acting like a mailbox? You're just basically taking an email, handing it off to the next person, such as, I believe, Frank from Office Space. I take the files from the engineers, or the customers, and I give them to the engineers. Such a great movie, by the way. I absolutely love Office Space. There's so many bad examples of leadership in that movie. Anyway, I digress. You have to add value to everything that you do. And whether that is pushing forward emails or files or taking direction and giving it to your people, you have to add value to it. And if you don't agree with it, then you need to stand up for it. And that is, you have to have the courage to stand up for it. But it's also even more than that. Leader courage even goes into ensuring that you and your people treat it with the respect and dignity that you deserve. Because there are too many bosses out there. You hear me talk about it time and time again. So many bosses out there that simply just walk over to people, treat them like garbage, right? Embarrass them, call them out when they shouldn't be called out. Doing so many stupid, moronic, Neanderthalic things that it's 2019, folks. We shouldn't be dealing with this crap anymore. But here we are. So you as the leader, you need to stand up to that. And I'll tell you a quick little story. I'll tell you about when I was a young lieutenant. We're talking about at least probably around 11 years ago now. So keep in mind, I'm basically brand new, right? I just got over a year of true military experience under my belt. And for a while, I was sent away to another base for a task. Just a job I had to do for, I think, about 4 weeks. Anyway, my boss, while I was on that job, i.e. the person that was supervising me during that task at that one point in moment, didn't actually have the qualifications, the experience, nor the knowledge to actually supervise me. She didn't know what she was actually doing neither. So when I finished that task, we got a little evaluation. And there was so much garbage written on it. And it didn't really paint me in a great picture. So we get back home to my base, and I go back to my boss, my true day-to-day boss, and I hand them this evaluation. I explain my side of the story. And he tells me not to worry about it. And life's good. Well, fast forward a month or so, and I get this certificate of appreciation for being on this task and working with this other unit for a month. So my boss is in front of my peers, and my superiors. People are, the whole gamut, right? And he's explaining how he wasn't sure why I even got this letter of appreciation, because they didn't say that I did a great job in this evaluation I got. So he basically cut me down in front of everybody, which obviously didn't sit well with me, right? This was a Friday. So I took the whole weekend to basically calm down. And Monday morning, I walked into his office. I said, "Hey boss, can we talk?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." I shut the door behind me, and I calmly and professionally explained my side of the story, why I was upset, how I didn't appreciate the words that he said, and that he should not ever do that again to me. In the end of our chat, he actually apologized, which was something for this guy. You'll say he wasn't my favorite boss of all time. But the moral of the story is this: it took a lot of guts for me to do that. We're talking about, 1 year, just over a year of true experience in the military, to someone who's at my current rank level now. So that is a wide gap. And walking in and basically roasting him face to face. It takes a lot of guts. And that could have went horribly wrong, or it could have went the way it did, which was well. And this is where we're going to go into our next topic, and that is, you need to protect yourself sometimes. Sometimes you as the leader, you need to stand up and protect yourself. And it takes courage and it takes guts to do that in this circumstance where you're being called out unrightfully so. And the most important thing you cannot do is do nothing. You cannot let people just walk over you. You cannot let people call you down to the dirt as a leader. You cannot let people basically tarnish your reputation unwarranted. I'm sure, I always say personally, I am more than capable of ruining my own reputation. I don't need other people's help. So you can't do nothing. You have to do something. And the next thing you can't do is going in guns a-blazing, because people will go in automatically, when you go in guns a-blazing, they'll go into offensive mode and they'll lash back, and it will not go well for you as the subordinate in this situation if you're going in at a more senior level trying to protect yourself and your reputation. Nor will it actually even work at any level. But most of the time you're going to find yourself stuck in that you versus, David versus Goliath situation. So you can't go in guns a-blazing. What you need to do is take that moment, take that day, take that night, whatever. Calm down, relax, and now look at the facts essentially unemotionally. You need to remove the emotion from the situation, and it's going to be tough to do so, but you need to do it so that you can go into a cool and calm, collected head and present the facts of your side in a manner in which will not put the other person on the defensive, but allow them to listen to you, understand you, and want to basically take your side. But if you keep the emotion in there, you're going to continue to be charged, you're going to continue to be fired up, you're going to be angry, and what's going to happen is pure raw emotion is going to come out of you, and it's just not going to go well. End of the day, you're not going to get what you're looking to get. So as hard as it is, the biggest, toughest pill that it is to swallow, you need to remove that emotion component from there. The next thing you need to do when you're sticking up for yourself is that you need to ensure you stick to facts. You need to stick to the facts of things that happened, what was said, what wasn't said, what was done wrong, what should have been done. Okay? You just can't go flying off the cuff and being like, oh, this is garbage, you treat me like crap. You need to stick to the facts. You did this, which led to that effect. And in the end, I did not appreciate it. What I think you should have done was this instead. Okay? You see the difference? You can see how calm the second way is. And that's the way you should be approaching this in every circumstance, whether that's protecting yourself, standing up for your team, or ensuring your organization's success. Okay? So protect yourself. Go in with facts. Try it to the best you can. Remove the emotion from it and have an understanding of what it is you're looking for. Are you looking for an apology? Are you looking for something to get changed? Are you looking to get a job elsewhere? What is it that you're looking for? If you're simply just looking to blow off steam, I would suggest you go somewhere else and do it elsewhere, because you're just going to be wasting your senior management's time. So make sure you take the emotion out, stick to the facts, and have an idea of what you're looking for. The person who inspired this episode today, their situation is the next one, and that's how you stand up for your team. So just a reminder, they've been given a policy to enforce that they don't even agree with. So how can you stand up for your team? Because they think their team is being put in a place of basically detriment due to this new policy. And they, as the leader, are now forced to enforce something they don't even agree with. It's not a great situation. Yet we find ourselves in that type of situation many times. And the advice I gave to that person is, you need to go back to senior leadership rationally and explain to them what effects, what impacts this will have on their team. And instead, what the team should be doing. So first off, you need to explain to your team that you have to support the senior leadership's decision here. You have to enforce them. However, when you inform them of the change, or the policy or whatever, listen to what they have to say. Listen to the words that they're using, how they feel about it, and then put that in context that your senior management are going to understand. The impact of morale, the impact of productivity, the downturn that these decisions or decision lead to. Those are the types of things your senior management are going to want to hear about. They don't care about people's feelings being hurt, unfortunately, but they do care about what's going to impact the productivity of your organization. So you need to take the language of your team, translate that into the language that your senior leadership is going to understand, and then rationally provide these impact statements back to them so that they can revisit this decision. As well, if you are a supervisor, and there are many other peers at the same level as you, have a discussion with them. If you can, get together with coffee outside of the work area and discuss this decision or this policy or whatever it is that's driving you nuts, basically, and see what their take is on it. Do they have any issues with it? Most likely, you're not going to be alone. I am willing to bet there's going to be at least a few others, depending on the amount that there are of supervisors at your level. There are going to be a few others who are going to agree with you. Some may agree holistically, others may agree partially, but nonetheless, you will not be alone if you have reasons. So in that case, what you can do is you can basically form a coalition and say, hey, us don't agree with this decision for the following reasons, and likely this will have the following impacts to the organization. The more people you can have on board, the more likely you are going to sway senior management's decision. So, inform your people, let them know you have to stick with it, listen to what they have to say, translate what they have to say, and get reinforcements through your peers that are out there, okay? The next thing that you need to do is you need to ensure your organization's success with your courage. Because bad decisions, bad policies don't only just affect yourself or your team, but they affect the organization as a whole. And likely, at the end of the day, they have the potential to bring the organization down. So as you're highlighting these impacts from your team's perspective, what you need to do is then also translate it so it highlights the negative response or the negative association to your organization through this decision or policy. End of the day, the organization to your senior leadership's viewpoint is the most important thing. You as the middle leader, your people are most likely your most important thing. So the organization to their viewpoint is the most important thing. So you have to highlight how these impacts are going to affect the organization. So when you show leader courage, what you're going to do is basically ensure your organization's success, because you're highlighting the faults of the organization to the senior management, so they can in turn take those decisions, rework them so that the organization can move forward in a successful direction to achieve that success. However, it doesn't always work that well, right? Nothing goes to plan. Sometimes there's hiccups along the way, and sometimes you are simply stuck, because at the end of the day, senior management does not like reversing their decisions. They do not like abandoning policy that they put in for a specific reason. So when you're stuck, you have a few options. The first is you can try to find a way to mitigate it. You can try to find a way to mitigate it so that you find another way to achieve what they are looking to achieve, but not through a way which basically hinders your team. For example, if you work in an office setting and your senior leadership says no more personal internet access, so you can't go on any sites, but there's a number of people who need those sites for their job, then you can go back and say, listen, how about we just have this list of sites open so that people can do their work more effectively than going to, let's say, a shared computer, which is heavily monitored. Because people going back and forth, switching between workstations, that's never efficient. And efficiency is crucial in today's business. So if you go back with that type of suggestion, then at least you're going to highlight what it is they're trying to achieve. And you do achieve a bit of it, most of it, I would say, yet your team isn't hindered. Another option you have when you're stuck is simply ignoring the direction or the policy. Now, I don't recommend this one all the time, obviously, for great reasons. It could, I'm going to say it up front, highly likely lead to your firing. But you do have the option of ignoring it. And I'm not condoning ignoring, but I will give you an example a little bit of how we actually ignore some policy in the Canadian Forces. Widespread. The best way to ignore a direction or policy is usually when you and your team are not located with the rest of the leadership group, right? You're in your own building, you're away, you're on a satellite location, whatever. You're just simply not working in that vicinity. So effectively, you're the only one with eyes on your people and know exactly what they do from a minute to minute, day to day basis. You can effectively ignore whatever it is in that circumstance. However, as I said up front, the risk is high. You get busted, you're highly likely to get fired. I'm letting you know. I'm not condoning this method, but I'm telling you it is an option. So I said I have an example, and we do. In Canadian Forces, we obviously have policy for time off. This one is heavily ignored, often for good reasons. Sometimes we just allow our guys a day off. And technically by the books, people don't necessarily have that right. But supervisors do it all the time. Or they tell their people to show up late. Or they tell their people to leave early. By the books, our supervisors don't have that right. But it is widespread accepted. And we're basically ignoring a piece of policy. There are certain ways that you can do this. However, I don't recommend it all the time. You have to really analyze the situation, understand the risk associated to it, and ask yourself if you're willing to accept that risk for your people. The final option you have when you're stuck in a situation where you don't agree with the decision or the policy is simply quit. Sad to say, but leave the organization. What you're saying is the organization's values don't line up with yours, and you can't work there anymore. Will it suck? Absolutely. Will it seem a bit brash? Possibly. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, does this make me so unhappy as a leader that I can't live with myself in carrying out these duties? And if that answer is yes, then it's probably best that you start looking for employment elsewhere and start moving on, because you do not want to get in the situation where you just can't stand showing up for work every day. You can't stand what it is that you do every day. All right, folks, leader courage. It is something that's not easy. It's something that takes a lot of guts. And you know what? It's something that's needed, though, because it's too easy to be the boss out there. It's too easy to be that mailbox out there. It's too easy to truly just care enough to say that you care, but in reality, you're just doing whatever you're told to do. And coming from someone from the military where orders run our lives, it may seem to be a bit funny, but I'm telling you, there are ways for you to push back. Have the courage to push back. But remember, like I said, regardless of the situation, whether you're standing up for yourself, your team, or your organization, do your best to remove the emotion from it, stick to the facts, and present yourself in a professional manner so that, end of the day, you have done the best that you can do to try to sway the senior management's decision or policy. At this point in the show, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and throw some thanks. The downloads have spiked incredibly lately, and I'm internally grateful. A shout out to Huntsville, Alabama, United States. You guys, whew, holy smokes. I thought last month that Mountain View and San Jose, California, like the Moving Forward Leadership. You guys absolutely blew them out of the water this past month. Incredible. A few other shout outs, London, Canada. Where else? Let me have a quick look here as I skim through Portugal, Italy, Luxembourg, Australia, France. You guys are still back there. Germany, India, UK, of course, China. It's great to have you folks listening to the Moving Forward Leadership. I can't even count the number of countries that this show is now being listened to, the number of, foreign languages people have to mine, natural languages to you. But still, the matter of fact is that it's great to see the world getting rid of bosses and developing leadership skills. If you're ready to develop yourself, if you're ready to go ahead and start grabbing some goals, then you know what? Come join me in our Power Goals program. The Moving Forward Leadership Power Goals program is here for you. Quick 5-step process for you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. I'm not going to market you to death with this program, but I'm going to tell you this. Go to movingforwardleadership.com/power, Power. The link will be in the show notes. And what you will find is my program, which allows you to set goals for any type of thing that you want to achieve. But more importantly, I'll give you a little secret sauce here. It will actually bring you through the process of figuring out what goals are actually important to you. Because how many times have you said, I should do X, run a marathon, for example, or use myself as an example. But running a marathon doesn't line up with my personal values. So I will never achieve that goal. There are many other things that line up with my values. Running a marathon isn't one. I will never achieve that goal based off of that thing. That's just a little insider secret sauce to the Power Goals program. So folks, if you're truly interested, go to movingforwardleadership.com/power, Power. Or if you're interested in show notes for today, just go to movingforwardleadership.com/84. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the solo show this week. Thank you for listening. It's always a pleasure. Actually, scratch that. One last thing. I'm keeping the show real. I'm not doing a crap ton of editing today because you guys want the real me, and this is it. Sometimes things come into my mind at the very last second. Anyway, all this to say, episode 84, I am 16 episodes away from 100. 100, that's a big one. I want your take. What do you think I should do for episode 100? I need to plan it sooner than later. So what do you think I should do? Episode 50, I had a panel of some of the most popular guests. George Panyak, Heather Younger, and Keisha. They all came back for episode 50, which was pretty neat. Now, would you like to see that type of thing again? Or would you like something different? Or would you just like me to say, hurrah, episode 100, and carry on with whatever 100 shall be, either an interview or a solo show? Anyway, let me know, social media, or shoot me an email at scott@movingforwardleadership, and it'd be great to know what you think. Alright folks, that's it this time, for sure. As always, stop bossing, start leading. Take care now.